Hello there, and welcome to my review of The Last of Us. I just recently played the game for the very first time, and to be honest, I was not very impressed. However, I realized the reason why I wasn't impressed was I was comparing it to today's standards, and, of course, to my favorite games. As I let the game settle and I became to realize what it was actually like, it actually impressed me. First of all, the story of the game started off rough for me. I can see how many people fell in love with it after the fact, after I analyzed it, but I am a writer first and foremost. So when I saw that they only fridged his daughter just to give him character, really bugged me. I always find that as an easy way out. However, it was after the fact, after seeing myself playing it, that I realized it wasn't so much of them doing the easy way, because that would have pissed off most people. It was the fact that they went a unique way. They actually had you play the character which was going to get fridged, which was going to get killed off immediately so you can get an emotional backstory. And then you play the character who is emotionally impacted by it. With this, you feel a connection to the character who has died. If you were playing as Joel in the beginning, trying to protect your daughter and she dies, there's not as much of an impact. Why? Because you don't have that close personal connection. When you start out as Sarah, you get that connection to her father, Joel. So it impacts you far harder when you actually realize that she dies, that you die, and you become Joel suffering with that fact. So I'm able to give the game praise for its opening after I've become to realize why they did it certain ways. I have never been a fan of fridging. It always bugs me when they do that. So even though I can accept it, I still find that an easy way to give Joel personality, an easy way to give an excuse as to why Joel is the way he is. The game seemed to run too slowly, and I understand that they were trying to build a world, show you what's going on, but I guess it just didn't age well, because at this point in time, I know what that kind of world is like. I mean, you read it in books, you see it in movies, a dystopian future where the world falls apart and is controlled by specific factions, and there's always one faction that's against it. Yes, they always look exactly the same. So it was something I truly didn't entirely need. However, I guess for those who were really interested in the story, it is nice to immerse themselves. However, I wish there was more of a ability to, if you didn't want to get taken down with that, you could actually run. Because during replay value, if people are playing it to enjoy, they're stuck in these long, slow talking scenes that you can't exactly run through. There's no quick way through. You're literally walking slowly through these destroyed cities, which I am not entirely a fan of. For me, the first few hours of the game seemed to run very slowly, because it was primarily, through the whole game, you're literally just learning how to play it. My favorite characters in the game would be Bill and David. Bill, an amazing survivalist character. You can tell exactly what kind of character he is immediately. You can come to rationalize why he is the way he is. You can come to realize what his preferences are without it being forced down your throats. There's a ton of subtext that they introduce that you can catch on to easily. They didn't need to force feed you anything. And the same thing with David. David, I loved the way he introduced himself in the beginning. It was amazing. His character development was by far one of the best I had seen. And the way he went from high intellectual to completely mad on the flip of a dime when the building was burning down, I found fantastic. The strange thing is like, I did not enjoy the game until the very end, when I could see the entire story starting to piece together. I had never played it before, never seen it played before. I've heard about it constantly, because my friend, Big Daddy Mo, he would always talk about the game. Always rave about how great it was, and would always tell me to play it. I am not much of a gamer, and I've had a few favorite games, and I've stuck to them. But when I finally played it, and I finally got through it, it took to the very end of the game for me to realize, start piecing everything together, how it's good. However, I don't play things in like a burst. My friend played the game in like an entire day, beat it all in one day. For me, it took a few weeks to get the game done. Why? Because I would just play like an hour here and there. It wouldn't be playing through the entire day. I can't do that. So it was different for me because every time I came back to the game, I had to refresh myself on what was going on previously. So it's one of those games that you have to play all the way through to actually truly understand, especially if you're on the fence of it from the beginning, especially if you're starting to find flaws in its story from the beginning, which I was doing. So all in all, this is a truly good game. I won't say fantastic, won't say amazing, won't say great. It's a good game. I might actually need to go back and play it once again because as soon as I got a hang of the mechanics, I started to enjoy it a little more. As soon as I started to get where the story was going, I started to enjoy it a bit more. But my biggest issue with the game was the fridging of the daughter. But in games where you have longer stories, you can have more character development. I do not like if you fridge a character. Why? Because it's a cheap way of getting characters to get emotionally impacted and get emotionally invested in that character's story. I'm not a fan of it in games, especially. In movies, it's fine, especially on how it's done like it was in I Am Legend. So that's all I'm pretty much going to say about it. It's an enjoyable game. It's worth playing again. I probably will need to eventually. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time. Toodles.